this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha Teizé, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e leva! Today, the best NA and LATAM teams go head-to-head on stage for the first time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to VCT Americas. We're coming at you live from the Riot Games Arena here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, joining here by Brent and Mimi, little bro and little sis, respectively.
Okay.
I'm a little bro.
You're not a little. Well, you're taller
bro.
than me, so you can't be a little
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, well, that's not a reason.
I'm also taller than you.
Little bro is reserved for the
little guy, wingman. That's his
I was
name.
like
Look.
trying to measure you guys. I'm like, is that true?
Dog, I don't make the rules. I just read the script.
Okay, that's fair,
you know,
that's
like
fair, that's
just
fair.
come at me, dude. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
I just work here.
I just work here, guys. Yesterday, the fans came out to see 4 teams make their Americas debut. And first, they saw the 2022 champions Loud take on the Brazilian rivals of MIBR. And this game, Mimi, I think gave us a lot more hope for MIBR and also for Loud, too. I think both of these teams had great performances despite the scoreline.
Yeah, they really did. For Loud, we came in with this expectation. Okay, they have never, ever lost to another Brazilian team in a domestic matchup, and we expect them to stomp. Map number 1 looked like it was going to go that way, but on Lotus, MIBR pulled out some really cool stuff. I think managed to adapt more than Loud did. They were trying to cook, pull out some new things with the Gecko, which I still think they were trying to work on. But at the end of the day, we go down to map number 3, and Loud was able to adapt and win that one out.
And this matchup here, I mean, Cloud9 EG, I think, as well, subverting those expectations. But my goodness, did Cloud9 cook in the end with their 2 new players, you know, Rooney and Jake coming in. A lot of people expect them to really falter, but they managed a really quite stellar comeback here on this first map of Pearl, and eventually as well, just still leveraging into that massive firepower they've got with those 3 core players that remained on that Cloud9 team, and they just sailed away to a victory.
Yeah, it makes me kind of sad to see EG slip into some of the same issues, but it makes me so happy to see this Cloud9 team actually popping off despite these 2 last-minute changes. Both the new players on the squad performed admirably, and Depo and Leaf were insane as always. I was predicting EG into that matchup, but I kind of just forgot about those 2 guys. They are incredible.
Yeah, Rooney and the Big Bean definitely popped off. You love to see it, folks. Big Bean. In any case, though, folks, here's the thing. Those were great debuts yesterday, but the real debut, the real story was Sadok using Wingman. That's right, folks, because he was the first player to select Gecko in Americas, and little homie lit up the arena as well as Twitter. And I think it's, you know, take an opportunity here, of course, to revel in the beauty that is Wingman and maybe in a little bit do a little bird watching.
That is
you
the
know?
little bro, though.
Huh?
I'm not little bro.
Not
That's
Brent,
little
it's
bro.
him.
That's a little bro. That's actually a little homie.
Little
That's-
homie?
that's
You mean little
No,
homie
the
and
shark
little
is a
bro.
little homie. The alt is.
Okay, I can't keep up anymore. Here's some bird watching. All right, so obviously we had some Wingman here, and this is from Puns and Buns. Says, I want to see #C9 win, but I hope they please spare our son. There was a lot of Wingman violence, and I don't appreciate that,
I think more
Mimi.
of the fans came out for Wingman than for the teams. It was insane the amount that people cared about him. And yeah, it was really screwed up every time someone killed him. It made me really sad.
That was screwed up. They should just lose the round and let him live.
I agree.
That would be
That's a
more
good take.
preferable, I think.
They should. All right, let's go ahead and see what our next tweet was that we got here. All right, it's from C9 Valorant. Show this to our team at halftime, Dead or Alive Wingman. Wow. I mean, Cloud9
crazy.
really living their villain arc here.
Yeah, but also quite apt as well. I like that little meme with some analysis tied in. They were denying the Wingman quite nicely.
They actually were. Yeah.
I like that when we go to your single, it looks like you're wanted. You're gonna go to jail.
Really?
with Wingman
Does it
as well.
actually?
Yeah, you're gonna get
What
locked
happens if
up.
you go to the
It's your
sing-
time to go.
Does it actually look like I'm wanted?
I guess. Well, yeah,
I
kind
need
of.
to be concerned. Are they going to let me fly out of here?
No, you're trapped in
Nah, not at all. You're landlocked forever.
Yeah, you're
Let's
never
go
leaving.
ahead and check the next one. What do we have? is from Excuse, actually, and I believe this one. Oh, this one's in Portuguese. I believe.
Portuguese?
No, well, funny enough, I was learning how to speak Portuguese
Okay, I
in
speak
Sao
Portuguese,
Paulo.
and this says, what do you think of the new Loud player? I thought they meant
que
choosing
lindo.
Who
Kawazin,
gave him the gun?
but they mean this guy.
I feel like it's like, you know, if you ever had a dog and it's just
so
got something
cute.
dangerous in its mouth and it's running away.
It's like the crabs that grab
It's
knives
like that with
and
wingman.
like run around.
Yeah, you got to get the dangerous object. Who gave him the gun?
I don't know, but maybe
shouldn't have been
Wingman.
allowed.
Wingman don't need to be given a gun. Wingman just takes
He's
what he
built like
wants.
that.
That's
Yeah,
little
so the
homie,
next-
dude.
the next patch, the next
or
one.
little bro, whatever. Because apparently
It
there's a
is
problem.
Get it right.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see our final tweet, which features apparently some pretty cool cosplay here. Oh, that's cool.
Wait,
Nice.
that's
I
sick.
like that.
Is little bro photoshopped in, or is he real?
He's photoshopped.
He's not real.
Photoshopped in, baby.
real.
Now we know who's going to get caught off guard when the AI deepfakes take to the internet. Mimi's going to believe everything.
Every single one. The Pope was wearing that coat, and Gecko is real. Gecko is real. Believe me, guys.
The boat, that one was very realistic. I thought the boat was drippy as hell.
Let's go ahead and
cosplay
move
is
on
really
from
cool.
that subject matter and take a look at our standings
going
for
on?
week 1. And of course, what is going to be coming up today, because we're going to get to see these two teams, NRG and Leviathan, take the stage. And granted, you know, they're going to be the only ones left 0-0 right now. But at the end of the day, we will see who moves up, who joins their colleagues with one win here in Americas. And Mimi, you know, honestly, I genuinely have no idea who's going to win this. It's such a toss-up.
Yeah, when we were talking about the expectations for Americas ahead this season, there was 3 teams that were like, any of these 3 could be the top squad. That was Loud, that was Leviathan, and that was NRG. And in the very first matchup for 2 of those squads, we get to see them face off. I think this is probably going to be the best map of the week.
Yeah, and I think it's going to have actually pretty large implications. It's too early to tell, obviously, with it, 9 weeks of play in general. But I think if you think about what these teams are working towards, and that's that top 3 finish, you have 2 teams right now that are punching for that top 3 as well. And a win or a loss here could affect things pretty heavily in the late run, I think, as well as you get deeper and deeper into the Americas.
Yeah, it will be quite interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. But let's go ahead and make sure y'all are out on the internet using hashtags VCT Americas and VCT, so we go ahead and feature your tweets during the broadcast. Kurt's pulling all of them, and he'll get the good ones, the juicy ones, or he'll just make up his own tweets. And while you're there, go ahead and jump in on today's poll question. This one is very simple. Who's going to win today? Is it Leviathan or NRG? Scan the QR code on screen and cast your vote now. Good luck making that decision, because I tell you, none of us know what the hell's going to happen there. It's going to be awesome, though. But folks, we're going to take a quick pause for the pause, or pause for the cause, whatever. Words are hard. And then we'll dish out some mega big brain analysis of today's matchup. And of course, we'll see you guys in just a little bit.
We can't guarantee that.
Now.
Swinging all the way through, and Tagalia making the Vandal look like a phantom.
They just find it, they did well, but Evanes comes up once more.
Welcome back to VCT Americas. Today's broadcast is only one match, but when you got a banger like NRG versus Leviathan, definitely can't complain. But let's go ahead and look at this on paper because NA's #1 team is facing off against Latin America's #1 team. And now these squads have had, they never actually had that proper match, right, on stage. So this is going to be quite exciting. And on top of that, there seems to be this respect between the two teams, which is pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, Sam had this to say about Leviathan, flat out just saying that Leviathan are probably the hardest team that I've ever played against. I will not be shocked at all if they literally win the whole thing. Usually you can tell when a team are scrimmers. Leviathan are not scrimmers. Leviathan play every scrim like it's a match. It's really good practice, but at the same time, we're playing like it's a match. Leviathan is playing like it's a match, and we're just getting farmed.
Yeah, I think this goes to show as well the level of respect that this team has. As well, for context, this was before lock-in.
Right after lock-in, after they got eliminated, I believe, getting ready for Leviathan.
But, okay, yeah.
When they got home,
the context of it being for lock-in to win it all, not America's. They wouldn't be saying that about their competitors, being like, we're going to lose today.
It's going to suck.
We're going to lose.
But this is two of the best teams that we've got, I think, in the Americas who, I said at the beginning of the day, at the beginning of our pre-show here today, that they're going to be aiming for that Masters spot, aiming for a top 3 finish, I think, in the Americas overall as well. It should shape up for an absolutely stellar matchup, I think.
Yeah, it absolutely should. And also for these two regions, it's kind of the pride of North America and LATAM individually. And this is going to be one of the first big matchups that we get in North America that is the best of these two of the regions that are coming together to create this Americas League.
Yeah, and lots of heavy hitters, across the field, both teams. But let's actually go ahead, though, and talk about King first because he gave us a moment for all moments, the highlight reel of all highlight reels. And honestly, I don't even know if we would ever, get to see one like that in that atmosphere ever again. But this team right here, this team is disgusting. And they are forces to be reckoned with here in this region.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. And King, we've talked a lot about him as an individual, but I wanted to talk about some of his mid-rounding and decision-making, because I think this guy continues to be underrated as one of the top IGLs in the Americas League. He's really good at having these early rounds where you're taking space, pushing pressure. You saw in that round, they just send a little bit of utility towards C that pulls their opponent to rotate off, and they have this great execute onto the A site. On top of that, you can see the coordination. The second they're on this site, they have a triple swing set up once Vitality goes for this retake, and just one round in the future here, or a couple more into this game, you see they also still have these crazy set plays. When things get wild, Leviathan is a team who can pull out a crazy idea, like Mazzino teleporting behind them and making a play like that, but they also have the consistent fundamentals, which feels like a balance between the Leviathan that we saw at Champions. It was very much about the fundamentals, and the old Leviathan that we got back at Copenhagen that was about thriving in this chaos.
Yeah, and then also, when you put that spotlight on King as well, right, it goes to really show how structured this team is, because they can also move players to different roles. They can try new things. I know that, with Shy, they were trying out some new things as well at lock-in. It seemed to have worked out for them.
Oh, massively. I mean, Shy's one of the youngest players that we've got as well, that's playing in the Americas itself. But this role swap where he's been, moving over to
that is objectively a badass picture.
It's worked out so much. That is a badass picture. You are right. I mean, but just look at the sheer numbers of this guy as well in terms of where he performs at the lock-in event itself. But it really did enable this guy, because before, when he was playing an initiator, he had to be usually like the third one in as well. He was supporting the rest of his team, and he had his good games. He had his time in the sun, of course, but this move over now to the Sentinel means that, he takes a bit of a back seat, I suppose, in terms of the order of which maybe when they're scaling, or he can lurk a bit more, and it has freed him up, I think. It gives him that kind of freedom within the match, within those rounds, to have a ton of individual impact. And it's added just extra element, I think, to make Leviathan an even scarier team than they were before.
Yeah, and him making that changeover has also given away for really comfortable roles for the two new players that were added ahead of lock-in.
Yeah.
Mazzino gets to play on the controller role, which he's really incredibly strong at. And Nosworth gets that scout initiator role, with King moving over to the flashes. This team is putting a lot of emphasis in just coordination and playing to their comfort, and they're so damn good at it.
Yeah, and of course, so on the other side of the stage, you have a phenomenal squad in their own right, capable of being able to to take down Leviathan as well, which is wild to think about given how good Lev is. But it's, of course, NRG. And now, they did lean heavily on Ye last year, right? Not to say that, the core, Crashies, Victor, and FNS, can't hold their own. We know that they most definitely can. But it's nice to see Artis getting put into this. And he really has been enabling this team and really helping them put together a lot of really cool strats.
He adds a ton of flexibility just from his time of playing in EMEA and as well playing on that FPX squad back in the day. And that's definitely showcased as well just in the numbers that he's able to put up. But it's, I think, enabled NRG to play a lot more different stuff as well around it. Like, we were kind of locked into that chamber meta in the previous year. And of course, a lot of teams taking full advantage of that, including, the old Optic core, which is now NRG, when they were putting Ye on that role as the best player in the world at that role. So listen, I've got no issues whatsoever with them doing that. But as we head into 2023, flexibility becomes a pretty key feature, I think, of a lot of teams and what they should be working towards.
Yeah, and the thing is that Artis can do both. You see in the stats there, he can be a superstar when he's playing on the Jet, but he can also flex onto the Killjoy, the Flash Initiator role, the Sage, anything, and he will still perform to a really high level. And I think this is the biggest example of NRG reinventing themselves. They're not that team that is super reliant on Ye as an individual. They're a team that's reliant on 5 players who are all individually fantastic and highly flexible.
Yeah, and also that kind of leads us to our next player that we're going to be highlighting here, because I think for a lot of us going to lock-in Sao Paulo, we were like, I don't know how Sam is going to do. Homie stepped up big time in Brazil and definitely made a name for himself as a professional player, not just a content creator.
My streamer, I'm telling you, this guy popped off at the lock-in event as well. He really did play incredibly damn well because he was filling massive shoes in the form of, like, listen, Marv was punching for potentially one of the best controller players of last year. And coming into this team, I didn't really know where to put that, but he exceeded my expectations personally as well. It's almost like as well, we kind of want to name certain areas of maps after players, like the artist spot next to Jenny on his head. It was like the yellow box as well, just in that one angle. Someone's getting so many
angles
there,
It was absurd.
It was insane.
He set up a little tent.
It's insane, but he
made some
really,
hot dogs.
he set the expectations of where we should be, expecting as well for these next 9 weeks for his play as an individual. But he is not weighing down the rest of this NRG squad.
Yeah, and I think that these two players thriving on their new roster of NRG is proof of how good this core is, of that support structure of Victor Crashies, as well as FNS, because they've developed a top-level team with their previous players, with Ye, with Marv, but they've also been able to bring in new players into this squad, quickly change up their ideas, and still be performing at an absolutely top level.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that these are two teams that we could genuinely sit here and talk about all day long because they're so talented. But enough from us here. Let's actually go ahead and hear from the players about this upcoming matchup. Check it out.
Team we're excited to play is Leviathan, which is our first game. They were our main scrim partners in lock-in, so we would scrim them like 2 or 3 times a day almost. And we would honestly learn a lot from them. So I think playing against them officially in a match will be very exciting and it'll be a very good game.
I rate them really highly. I think their star 2 people is King and Taco. I think King doesn't get the credit he deserves, and Taco is, he also doesn't get it. I think they both are very underrated. I think a lot of people, pros know they're good, but I don't think a lot of fans know how good they are.
Let's see if he can dodge it. He just takes the fight and King wins it out.
Yo pienso que dicen eso de NRG porque tienen buenos jugadores, tienen buena estructura a nivel equipo. Se nota que saben jugar en equipo, tienen los fundamentos, entonces los jugadores individualmente son muy fuertes y a nivel equipo también funcionan bien. Entonces yo creo que es un conjunto de por qué se ven fuertes y hacen buenos partidos.
Para mí top 2 o 3 de todo el torneo.
I think that first match is really kind of is going to show what both teams are capable of. Leviathan, very strong team overall, has a lot of structure, and so do we. And I think both teams have a lot of firepower, so it's just going to come down to very small margins.
So glad Finesse mentioned firepower there, because that kind of leads us, even though we did talk a little bit about Artis, it gives us an opportunity to also talk about some of the players on the other team that are going to be meeting Artis on the field and potentially going toe-to-toe with them. And that player that I'm particularly looking at is, of course, Taco.
Yeah, Taco was an absolute star for this squad at lock-in, but I want to talk less about how these two perform as individual players and how more they kind of represent the direction the teams are moving in. For Leviathan, they've emphasized taking Taco off the chamber, putting him on the jet, putting him on the raise, making him comfortable in those star dive roles. Whereas for NRG, as we've already talked about, they've lent more into the flexibility. They're similar teams in their structure and in their strength, but they both have had, I think, different approaches to how they want to build their team in this current meta.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think as well, it's kind of up for debate still in terms of what play style and how that might actually work out and what is going to be prevailing in this matchup here. We're really going to see that manifest as well. And I think as we head deeper and deeper, there's certain maps as well that are going to be playing towards that play style of Takalea when we might see him play a bit more of the jet and whatnot, whether or not NRG end up opting into it as well. But it's clear that there's strengths for both sides in terms of how they're deciding to facilitate both the players.
Yeah. And on top of that also, like this matchup, I think will be a bit of a different expectation than at Lock-In. For both these teams, they were kind of going in blind as to what their opponents would be doing. But both these squads are super duper prep heavy. So now having VODs of their opponent, I think make this match even more exciting. I expect both these teams to have great things cooked up.
Yeah, again, we keep saying it. It's going to be an awesome matchup, folks. And don't worry, we're minutes away, so we got you covered. NRG versus Leviathan are going to be taking the stage in just a minute, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this short break. Welcome back, everyone. NRG and Leviathan will take the stage in just a few minutes. And the desk, of course, is divided, and I don't blame them about who is going to have the edge in this matchup. Now, Mimi and Bren are both convinced that they're right, and they've created presentations to sell their predictions. Let's go ahead and check them out. All right. Bren, why are you standing like that?
Thank you for your time today, GP.
Yeah, give me a presentation. Who are you trying to convince me on?
In this matchup today, I am going to be predicting Leviathan, and here is why. Starting with Leviathan, the future of America's League.
Wow.
As you can see, beautiful logo.
Yeah.
And it's all about this next slide that's coming up. No questions until the end.
Sure.
Team vision. What is the team vision? Well, Leviathan seeks to empower each individual player to bring out the core competency in each player. A bespoke team, purpose-built to make waves in the VALORANT ecosystem.
Oh, okay. I mean, sure. What else you have?
That's a fantastic vision.
Thank you. Next slide.
Yeah, sure. Let's see what we have here.
Blue sky thinking and synergy.
What?
In particular, synergy, quite important. A team that has been paving the way with creative strategy and real core tenets. We think this Leviathan team is going to resonate with fans in the Champions Tour 2023 Americas League.
That's not the name of our league. It's VCT Americas.
It's Champions Tour 2023 Americas League.
Okay, sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
As you can see from the graph as well, this team on an upward trajectory.
Line go up, that's
These
great.
guys are winners.
Yeah.
Next slide, please.
Yeah, I guess hockey stick going up. All right.
Capturing the hearts of fans globally. Many iconic moments have come from this team. Who could forget when Josh Wilkinson said, "That's the spike!" in their game versus Xset? Or perhaps when King looked upon his defeated opponent's vitality in the Lock-In Omega quarterfinals.
That was an incredible moment.
That
was an incredible
but,
moment.
Other teams have moments like that, no?
Well,
Yeah.
Leviathan has something special, and here's why. The next slide is going to really tell it all, I think.
Okay.
A team at the bleeding edge, and I know what you're thinking.
What?
That's you, Brennan, and it is me. That is me, and I just wanted you to know that it was me that was predicting
You don't look
Leviathan.
very professional in that photo.
Right here. Leviathan are consistently taking names over the last few years. They've been building themselves up as a robust team, giving 110% with every match. For that reason, I predict that they will win versus NRG. Final slide.
Dude, you're giving me like nothing to
I
go
feel like
off of.
there was no substance there.
The word count's like at least over 200.
But you said like they're putting in 110%,
Dog.
and like that they believe they're
There's
gonna
a
win.
third-party PlayStation controller on the presentation.
Did you even make this presentation?
I hired somebody to make it.
Okay, you know what?
No integrity.
Anyway, thank you for your time.
Go. Give me
Well,
switch.
I want to show some.
Switch. I
very good.
can't. I don't,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if you're doing
All right.
handshakes.
Well, let's do something that's a little bit more worth our time here. I'm going to present to you folks today on why I believe that NRG is going to win today. You can see a beautiful team here, and I would predict them to take things home in their game
Is
versus
that a
Leviathan.
JPEG of the VCT Americas logo?
Oh, wow,
No,
it
it's
pops
the logo,
up.
and it's me who's presenting this. I'm Mimi Wormkrantz. Let's get into this one. I want you to imagine a team that's winning. Think about what helps them to win, what puts them in that direction, and I think of one simple word.
Yeah.
One word. That's all
word?
it is. We'll see the word in a second.
Yeah, let's see the...
There it is.
Oh, wow.
Simple word, simple acronym. Fleku. Fleku.
What? Fleku?
Yeah. Do you guys know what Fleku means?
What? No, what is it?
Well, it brings a variety of different aspects that make a team fantastic that I think NRG embodies. Let's start with F. Fundamentals, players, leadership,
can't even read this.
experience, clutch, and utility. NRG have all of these factors.
So this is the Fopleku system?
The Fopleku system that NRG has applied to be one of the most successful teams that we have here in VCT Americas. I want to talk specifically, though, about two of the aspects, players and leadership. Let's start off by talking about the leadership, because the leadership on this squad, it's absolutely fantastic. You have both Chet, a fantastic coach, a championship-winning one, and as well, a great IGL in Finesse. Let's get that next slide up, please, to talk about some of these leaders. Here you can see him. It is NRG Finesse, a fantastic individual, and I actually went out and I polled his mind and found some of the things that he was thinking through in the average match. Let's pull up some of those thoughts. You can see here, all good, mid-round, utility, calm. These are the things that a fantastic leader is thinking, and a bad leader would not be thinking. It'll keep them calm during this matchup. Let's get that next slide up there. We got to breeze through the rest of this one. Great player, Som, best Viper player of Lock-In, consistent anchor, and a great new voice on the team. And on top of that, he's a fantastic streamer. W player, W streamer, NRG's winning it all.
Oh, my goodness.
Outstanding.
Any questions, guys?
No.
No.
None. Guys, all right, before we get started with today's show, we did want to let everyone know that the stream, of course, contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised, but two of the world's best teams are ready to take the stage. VCT America starts right now.
Our first match is Leviathan.
Jugamos contra NRG.
Obviously, I want to win.
Taco gets his back, Mazzino as well, finding two.
King now worried, but he wants to get proactive.
He just takes the fight, and King wins it out.
They're gonna get this down now. Shy gets from above. This guy, but he has to take down Taco.
Taco
He dashes
switching.
forward.
Oh, the right click.
Leviathan has a lot of structure, and so do we. Both teams have a lot of firepower.
There we go. FNS. Crashes has his hold on his Fury, and nobody clears Som.
NRG look mean about it. Victor ready for it. Oh, and it's perfection from NRG.
Entrenamos con ellos para el Lock-In y son un equipo fuerte, pero nosotros también.
I hope we just destroy them.
Welcome back, everyone, as we get ready for our matchup. Teams are going to be taking the stage in a moment here. I don't know. Well, you guys gave me barely anything.
I think I gave you a lot. Fopleku,
I gave you a
remember?
ton.
Actually, you know what?
Finesse is thinking a lot of great things.
Yeah.
They have great players. I feel like I was very clear.
I think the Fopleku system, it has changed minds, hearts, and souls of millions.
It's easy to
of
remember, too.
America's fans.
Yeah, it's very memorable, actually. What is it again?
The Fopleku.
I mean, surely you know. What does it stand for?
the Fopleku.
Fopleku?
FPL.
Yeah, go ahead and say what are the
What does it stand for?
Yeah, what does it stand for, Brent?
Finnish people.
No.
They don't have any Finnish people on their roster. They do have one import from Europe.
Yeah,
so
that's, you're thinking
close.
EMEA. This is America's.
I don't know. I'm lost at the second part of the.
I will say though, of the polls, or well, not the polls, sorry, of the presentations, Mimi, you actually gave me substance.
Yeah, you did kill it.
You had actual substance in your.
I also
in your
made
I
it
had
myself.
substance. I could fit into any business
here's the
meeting
thing.
of 2023.
I think that honestly, if the Riot executives see this, they're going to take him off the broadcast, and he's going to become a presenter now. I think he's
Be
great at
leading
it.
board meetings.
Yeah, you could do it. You're good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, but now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out our poll results here and see who you guys think are going to win. And goodness gracious, me man's sake, friend, 81%.
Yeah, that is quite the lead for NRG. I think I think people are kind of underrating Leviathan a little bit here with this one.
Guys, we get it.
Why they would go. I mean, that's pretty heavy, no?
We get it.
Something tells me there's someone named Sam on that team who has a lot of social media presence, and someone tells me that Leviathan, most of their fans, speak Spanish.
Yeah. But you know what, though? I totally get it. I think fan expectations are incredibly high for both of these teams. I think a lot. It does feel a little like Sentinels and 100 Thieves. But obviously, that being said, this is going to be an incredible matchup, and I'm so excited about this. So, folks, this is it. It's now time to welcome our two teams to the stage. Welcome NRG and Leviathan. And this is it, folks. NRG facing off against Leviathan, two Titan squads from North America and LATAM, respectively, here looking to do battle on this stage for you fine people back at home and in the crowd. This is going to be an awesome matchup, Mimi.
Both these teams have an expectation of making it to Tokyo, of making it to Champions LA, of being two of the top squads within this Americas League. And to kick off both of their seasons with a match against each other, I think it's going to set a lot of the precedent for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think it could be hard as well to place that context in our minds when watching this series about just how important it is. But I guarantee you that you are going to need every single match win over these next 9 weeks. Even if you are two of the best teams in the Americas League, I don't think you're going to be handed any easy or free wins. And getting off on a strong start of a win here today is going to make all the difference.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how pivotal a victory here can be, because a lot of folks have Leviathan, NRG, and either, like 100 Thieves or Sentinels making it to Tokyo. Like, I see a lot of the predictions, right? And Loud, and Loud as well, right? You already have 5 incredibly competitive teams that could very well have a spot in Tokyo. So now, this win right here, either side, it's going to be so important because it could be the difference for tiebreakers.
Yeah, it absolutely could. And we've already seen that there's no easy match. Tons of teams have already punched above their weight. So expectations today, there are definitely a ton of questions for these squads. But I think what's going to be most interesting for me on the side of NRG is that we really only got that one event from them. We only got to see them at lock-in. We've seen more history from Leviathan. For NRG, I think it was a little bit bigger changes coming in. Both these teams switched out 2 players, but it was Ye and Marv who are departing from this squad. And being able to fill into those shoes for NRG has been solid thus far, but now we get to see what they've cooked up with more time.
All right, map select underway. We'll see what our first vetoes are going to be, and of course, our first pick to determine where these two incredible squads are going to square off against each other. Fracture is going to go first there. That, of course, will be a ban coming from Leviathan. Let's see what NRG are going to look to get rid of here. Yeah,
and I think the no-brainer ban is probably going to be a sense, and okay, it is. So they want to remove that out of the pool from Leviathan. They're one of the better teams, at least among a lot of the competition in the Americas when they play on that map. And Pearl will be the first pick, which is quite intriguing, I think, as well. It's Leviathan's first map pick as well. They're opting to go into this one. This is a very good map for NRG. That's why I'm quite surprised by it.
Yeah, NRG was running that Loud comp with the double controllers, and they looked pretty darn good on that one. For the side of Leviathan as well, they had some issues. I think their attacking side sometimes got a little chaotic, but I imagine they've put in the work. What's surprising, though, is that Lotus is going to be that second pick. We haven't seen it yet from either of these teams. They were both generally second banning it, straying away from it at lock-in.
Yeah, fascinating that, the option to pick up, like an Icebox or even a Haven were present to them. But instead, they opted to go for Lotus. That is going to be quite fascinating to see how that plays out.
To me, that shows a lot of confidence from the side of NRG to say, we are more confident in our preparation and our idea of how we want to play this map. Because they actually did, play it once back at Lock-In. And on that map, they were playing this no duelist comp with double initiators. I didn't feel like it worked very well for them. They were running Sova as well, which I didn't love. So I imagine they've reworked that map and have a new idea for this match.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the decider map being that split as well coming in. I think this is quite an intriguing map pool that's based as well a ton around what they've prepped themselves. You have two incredibly prep-heavy teams. They love to curate and create strategies.
Yeah.
And as well, there's been a huge amount of time since we've seen these teams play at Lock-In, despite the fact that both of these teams, I believe, played 3 series each, which is the most out of a lot of teams here in the Americas. Yet still, I am really curious to see if we're going to see any switch up here with the map select, or the agent select, I should say.
Yeah, curious. And all right, so Mazzino.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Bringing in the Harbor right out of the gate.
Looks like we might just get the Harbor Viper versus Harbor Viper. I think the one variation that NRG brings is that they've been playing the Raids on this map instead of the Jet. Jet, a much more common pick with this composition. A lot of times you can flash through, dash past those smokes, and it gives a lot of opportunities for those players to pop off. As well, Artis was only playing 1 game of Raze at Lock-In.
Yeah, but the interesting thing for me as well is Taco Leo on this Jet on Pearl. A big deciding factor for Leviathan having success on this map was his opping, and I think double controller with the Harbor and the Viper really does put a dampener on that when you're trying to play it on Pearl in particular. I do wonder how it's going to be affecting it. I think he might be having a bit of a mitigated success here on this first map, but we'll see.
Yeah, and of course, you know, it boils down to how these teams have had the time to prep, the work that they've put into this. But folks, we are moments away from the first pistol round. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters, 2 guys that hate Mondays just as much as Garfield. It's Doug and Bala.
I'm not gonna lie to you, it would be Golden Boy to make a Garfield reference, right? Like, no, I know people here don't know what that is. I will say though, as much as I don't necessarily love Mondays, with the crowd, the energy that they have today, I love Mondays, man. If this is what it's gonna be like every time, let's go!
It's insane. It is noon on a Monday right now. These people should be working, but no, they're here. Ready for NRG Leviathan.
I mean, it feels like a Friday night, baby.
Absolutely.
They're cooked up.
Feels like opening day all over again. And for good reason. This is probably the marquee matchup of the weekend.
1000%.
And we're ending with it.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Again, Leviathan going up against NRG. The opening map in this best of 3 will be Pearl. NRG starting off on the attacking side, a heavy lean towards B right off the bat.
And Mimi was touching on how this is a mirror comp in the sense that both teams running the Harbor Viper. And I think you saw actually NRG pick up this comp at Lock-In. And a lot of the teams in Americas as well, the top teams, Loud, NRG, now Leviathan, all running this. They have a good understanding of how this comp plays. And you see the strengths of it right away. The double wall coming out for NRG, allowing this plant really, really easily.
Super difficult to deal with, and you have the Cove. You've got to manage through as well. Mazzino's in a really good spot. Mazzino getting 2. But Finesse gets both right back. Sam feeling a little bit of the pressure as Finesse has already gotten 3 on the round.
How have they brought this back?
I don't know, man, but I will say, when Finesse is fragging like that, that's a good start for the NRG faithful. That's a good sign.
I like the idea for them. It's to push into B-Link late as the high tide is coming down, find an advantage when the timing would be for Leviathan to start flashing out, to start re-pushing with Taco Leo. But in that instance, it looked like they were going to lose that fight in B-Link. Mazzino with the 2 early ones, and then they're able to trade that out. Not enough presence there for Leviathan. Everybody out coming from spawn instead. And that pinch from B-Link, from backside, works so well late in the round. It's something you have to clear. Mid-aggression here for Leviathan, though. Dangerous on these eco rounds consistently.
There.
Flash getting a little info of presence. It's waiting on the other side. As it seemed like NRG are going to want to test the waters B yet again.
That mid presence that we saw early did not really net much. They're starting to clear it now, but only after the high tide has come down, only after the Trailblazers all the way gone through B-Link, or through backhaul, excuse me.
Hard is taking a peek on some high ground, giving the space back, repositioning to take these fight later on in the round's note. Not a ton of buy here for Leviathan. They don't really have much utility either. I mean, a flash perhaps, a molly out of King. The thing is, NRG are in such a good spot here. They can just hold, right? Like, they can just hold these positions. They don't really need to take any proactive space. They don't need to take any proactive fights. You've got Sam, who unfortunately just drops, but is in a great position.
I thought a loss for a little bit longer here. Just trying to pressure so that all of NRG stays close.
Yeah.
They could take as many of them down to the spike as possible. That'd be really good for them, and it's going to be a lot. That's a good, I think, a well-handled eco for Leviathan after everything that started in that. And you can see the traps they're setting there. No, they're not necessarily going to win a round by the mid presence right there because NRG end up opting to go towards B. But what they do is, if they did choose to go in the middle there, there's going to be a gunfight. If they do end up in that place, maybe you can win the round. If not, then of course you're going to have to do some finagling on the B side to maybe get some kills, and that's what they do. So I think they'll take that.
Not nearly the same amount of mid-presence this time from the defensive side, as it seems like they're more interested in farming the Orb A, taking some of that space.
But look at this as well. NRG reinvesting into this round. Only 2 players did not need to buy a rifle, so this is a canceled bonus because of that eco. So this round is much more crucial than you would think. Sam is going to get the reckoning up. And we have seen so far a very, very focused attempt at this B side from NRG. Expect it again.
That ult could be key. Mazzino's very close to having his, too.
The question is whether they even use the ult to execute, because so far, they've been just with that double wall going up, able to take this site and plant, no problem.
Patience and prudence for now. Victor playing a bit further back, dropping the mollies, and there's the reckoning. The nade, too, is Shy has to tuck tail and has to run away.
All the utility there used from NRG definitely clears the site. You really can't stand on... And you saw Shy, the pressure that he was under. Oh my goodness, Artist.
He's going aggressive this time. He has to turn the flash away, and he was just up too far.
So I'm still maintaining some space with that Cascade, though. And they're going to have to use a Trailblazer.
Numbers in favor of Leviathan here. Flash out. You saw Sam in this exact spot a couple of rounds ago. Crash Chiefs falls too. So does Victor. And Sam will follow suit.
Massive round from Leviathan, handled all the aggression. Artist, Sam, all trying to take a little bit more space. It's not like full-on pushes into spawn or anything like that, just a little bit more space to find any little advantage they can.
And honestly, it was much more than we've seen from them up until this point.
Oh, for sure. And even in prior games, too. Just these little optimizations to the comp that they're throwing out. I love that Cascade that Sam threw in the late round. But then, as well, Leviathan coming in with the flash. The flashing heaven. It's not something very common to consider at all. And Artist has tried maybe twice already to go for it, but one time he canceled it, the other time he doesn't. But look, I mentioned how they canceled the bonus. Look at the economy for NRG. They actually are investing 2 guns, getting more and more common to see this kind of hero buys coming out.
Light armor on all but one. Just Crashies, he doesn't have any of it. Speaking of which, he's going to be the lone soldier working his way through art. Alarm bot on the side of this wall, too, so even if he tries to get a little cheeky and take some of that space, his position will be given away.
I think for Finesse here, major goal is to spot exactly what the rest of the map looks like in terms of setup. But the funny part is, Leviathan has done a great job adapting and changing it for this round, knowing that that's going to be a goal for him. The amount of respect these teams have shown, talking about how they're scrim partners, has been immense. And you can already see that on display. Nice pick from Artist out of A main, though. That's through a smoke. Through 2 smokes.
That's huge, too. That puts so much more pressure on Mazzino to be the one to try to control space and deny vision. Shy playing back sight. Has to wait for the molly to clear. Now the reckoning invested. He passed right by him! He's not able to get anything! But Victor can. He's gotten 2 on the round. Tagalia, the only one remaining in the round, and he eventually falls as NRG get 3.
They only had 2 rifles in that one.
IS-2 is all it takes.
All the kills. I mean, the Frenzy didn't even find anything in that secret position, but Artist, Victor, huge rounds from Victor. I especially love the execute that they actually go for. Every single time they've pushed on the site, there's been nobody on Leviathan that's able to actually respond. Only spam is possible. So much goodness coming out of the utility of the harbor from NRG, from Sam.
Oh, there's a lot of presence B from Leviathan. They do have a bulldog too.
Oh, they're hiding for this too.
Dude, they're gonna want to fight this. This is gonna be scrappy. The question is, how far up do NRG go?
That's a great flash.
Yeah, but how much info are you really getting? You know it's on this side of the cascade, but you don't know how many.
They've got a setup here. Molly as well. They start swinging the high tide coming in.
This could be trouble. It looks like it is going to be for NRG. 2 have already fallen. Make that 3.
Carrying spike.
Finesse and Sam remain. And the trap that Leviathan set for them, flawless.
That Molly on the backside of the map that Sam is standing on right now actually went in the front of it too. So many people vulnerable to the sheriffs of Leviathan. That's 1-tap range. I do like how Finesse has immediately pounced on taking back some mid control, using the space that turret held for the longest time.
They should know here too that it is primarily just pistols on the other side. So yeah, you're down numbers pretty considerably, but maybe you consider going for it.
Leviathan didn't pick up any guns, so Sam working to pick. There's 3 players here. Oh, there it is.
Big. Finesse has his Seekers too. When does he go?
I've got your trail.
Right now. Seekers drop. The flash is going to be there as well.
Sam fell though.
Sam fell. It's all onto the leader for NRG. 49 HP. No armor. Spike finally gathered up.
He's considering
He's expecting it and he spotted him. Not able to land the shots, but he's surrounded. Way too many targets to deal with. A 1v2 now.
How do you get the plant down?
There's no way he got it. That's insane. Finesse in a clutch spot. You can hear the remaining members of Leviathan thundering around as the spike takes away.
He's looking heaven right now, Taco.
He's patient though. No flashes. How patient will he be? Oh, he spotted him. He's gotten it down to 1. The tap from Shy as he repositions. He's gonna go for the kill, but how far up does he go? He's right beneath them. He spots the shots go just to be 1, and the snap is there for Finesse anyway. The Red Bull clutch for NRG.
What a recovery.
Dude, low-key, when he shot it first, I thought he botched it.
Yeah.
I thought he botched it.
He played that so well from beginning to end. As soon as the trap was sprung on B-Long, he knew what he had to do. Knew what Sam had to do. The decisiveness from this guy. This is why people put him in GOAT IGL status.
What do NRG do now? A bit more lean towards A. They have Sam's ult and Victor's to work with.
But don't forget, that last round, there had to be a recovery, right? That was an eco.
Sure.
So I'm looking now at Leviathan. They've got the Killjoy lockdown. They've got the Seekers of their own. Taco Leah has the op as well. And it's actually up head-to-head with Artis on this A side.
Cascade's going to provide some pressure.
Here.
This is clinical NRG. Just throwing out 1 Cascade, 1 vision blocker. Ooh, Victor.
There was also a Trailblazer that went in through Art. While there's pressure on B from Victor, as you just mentioned.
They just want to work a pick. They've been so good at it so far. Artis specifically has literally killed Nowzer in that secret area.
Toxin screen down.
I think you see here the maturity from Leviathan as well, not falling prey to the manipulations of utility. They stay disciplined, but Taco having to dance around. He still has that op, as you mentioned, but he's stunned up here. Has to give the space away.
And once again, this is another easy hit where nobody can respond.
Finesse once again.
Look at Crashy's joining him too. This is actually very interesting.
How far do they go? The Seeker's gonna give him away though. The Seeker's gonna spot him, but are they wise to it? In the chaos, in the cacophony of the round, are they gonna be wise to check that it's there? Yes, Nowzer drops him. And now lockdown, having to be navigated. Eventually clears, Spike ticking away. Taco's gonna be the first to tap Shy. The first line of defense overwhelmed and dropped, but can Taco hold it through the cove? Yes, he can.
And that's all because the flank fails. That's all because the Seekers go through. So a little bit of mistake there, not recognizing that those were up. And also Victor had his Viper's Pit. I'm not sure if he planted and then decided not to, maybe because they had so many people out off the site. knowing that Leviathan was falling back so easily, trying to take the rest of the space. I think that's a good adaptation. I think that's a good attempt. But from Leviathan as well, you can tell how often these guys are considering the flanks.
Here.
I mean, even in that finesse 1v2, Taco Leo is watching for it. It's just the timing worked out for him.
Yep.
Very aggressive here up B-Long.
Oh! Pushing the pace.
A huge kill. Psalm, the Harbor. That B hit that we've been seeing over and over, we've probably seen it 4 times up to this point,
Okay.
is significantly weakened.
Not having that high tide, not having the cascade. But now, and Leviathan don't have the op. They don't have Taco.
I think the big thing here, though, is that they do still have a little bit of extra coverage with Victor's Pit.
Yeah.
So I think Leviathan still win condition for this round is maybe stop this hit from coming through at all.
Harbor's wall layered right over Vipers.
Crashes as ult. And so, speaking of the win condition, they
Careful here.
probably aren't going to be able to do much against this at all. They're probably going to have to fall off site again. And the pit is going to be put down.
Dude, Crashies took a ton of spam damage there. He's down to 36 HP. He is going to get healed up a little bit. Hard is clearing out backside. The Viper's Pit invested, but Crashies falls. They're considering the flank. You see Victor staring down.
Right there.
Where do Leviathan go from here? The flash in the face. They have to turn away. It's going to delay things for just a moment as they try to get through the pit, and the shotgun just narrowly misses. 2v2 now. Pit still in play.
Turn out.
Shy trying to control backside, but there's no one there. Everyone is tucked in the pit. Now Shy falling, and King with not a ton of room, not a ton of options, not a ton of time.
Leviathan Talia third. NRG 5-2 now. That was again, the pit coming down from Victor. He rushed down after considering the flank for a second, especially after Crashies died. You mentioned how often they were looking at that flank. And that one's tough. I think as well, King there could have been a little bit more reactive as a response to NRG. I mentioned how much they wanted to stop that, how much they wanted to prevent that lockdown, the pit from coming in, but those two in combination, way too difficult. And Taco has the knives here. They're gonna go aggressive here on A.
Remember, he was very aggressive with the op, found a huge pick. This time Blade's not finding the same success, really, because there's just no challenge on the other side. Now they're 2 points away from having the Seekers.
That dog missed there.
Yeah, was able to sidestep it, but info gathered, and off of that Q alone, they're gonna want to rotate through Link.
NRG's showing so much options with their comp. The mid control here from everything.
And it's interesting, you see how far back Bowser's playing and where King was looking. They were concerned that they had lost Art and they were pushing in through mid.
And he's making the right call. He just flashed again through sewers. Checking if that's happening. They're feinting a B split. But instead, that just got them only through to sewers right now. That flash miss did not spot him moments ago. Pivoting all around. Sam got his high tide back up. No extra cascades.
Taco still here, and the flash is going to spot him. The Blades no longer
Cascade from
surprised.
Azina, though.
30 seconds left.
She's trying to hold him back. The turret, first to go.
Falling into Taco right now.
He really has no other choice. He doesn't know where to go.
Spike down.
And he may not want to go anywhere as Mazzino finds a third.
Blocking fire.
There's no time here anymore for NRG either. That is a huge hold. And the idea for them was to get that pit out and pivot based off of picks, but Leviathan gave them nothing. You saw Crashies wanted to get a pick in sewers. You saw they wanted to get a pick in B Link as well. But over and over, Leviathan is just giving them nothing, no inches. I think that continues to speak to the respect that these two teams showed each other at lock-in. They scrimmed against each other so often.
Spike down.
And what a fitting first match for these two teams to have after the respect, which you normally don't see between two teams, especially two top teams.
Yeah.
These are contenders for the Americas title this season, without a doubt.
Big flash. Taco peeking on the other side of the wall. Stays. Whew. Just for a moment.
Game plan has definitely shifted here for NRG. First 4 rounds was all B, all day. And it's not necessarily based off of anything from Leviathan either. I think they've had major success on this side. Maybe a little scared of that B-long eco idea that was coming out from them and Taco pushing up.
Sure.
They just want to focus on the control rather than anything else. Artis, ooh.
And it bashes his face into the wall. Now working his way forward. Again, you still have Taco back there. That nade will provide some pressure. Now they have, once again, an idea of where the op is. How far up does Artis go? Got the Reckoning that's going to be coming in from the defensive side as well. And Artis stun still pushes forward. Still gets one on to Nowser. Now Sam has shown up. They're trying to swing out. Sam gets another on to King. It's 3 on the round for him.
Immediately pivoting to try to find that op. He's here in Flowers. Finesse almost had him. They know he's falling back now. That turret, thankfully for him, gives him the cue that they're chasing.
Yeah, there's still a lot of time here, though. Look at all the traps he's leaving along the way. But also a trail of breadcrumbs to spot him. Poor guy's just running for the fences, bro. Get me out.
Yeah, he might make it back to the A site before the spike deploys. Running a marathon out here.
Important thing is he keeps the op, as you mentioned, so Taco will still have it.
Keep on mentioning this execute on both sides of the map, but A specifically, the Sam is able to put down with the high tide and the sometimes double cascade. You don't get that from any other controller other than Harbor, and he's using it to full effect. You're able to block fully the secret line. You're able to block Flowers. And if you go for an A main too, you can block both Flowers and Art too. So everything can be covered. Love to see how that gives the tools to FNS to be able to call such a marvelous pivot in the mid round. It's really, really fun to watch. As long as both teams don't just agree to go for post plan after post plan after post plan, because we've seen that too with this comp.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's funny you mentioned Finesse because I don't remember the exact quote, but in the content piece leading up to the match, she said something to the effect of, "I just hope we destroy them," and that felt like vintage Finesse, right? And then for him to start off the way that he has, he's called a masterful game. This feels like him, not early season. This feels like him, like in the throes of it at his peak.
Yeah. And the crazy part too is we didn't really touch on the changes that came with this comp, but Finesse has never played Sky before. Victor never played Viper before. They're new to this agent, but they both look like they've been playing it for so long.
Wave crashing, carrying spike.
The mind games that they play, man. Even just the cascade up towards A main to deny info, to deny vision. Forcing a little bit of respect out of the defensive side.
I like this from Mazzino. He's much, much closer than he normally is in B-Link. And there really hasn't been any response. We haven't really seen NRG go for massive B-Link play outside of one time they threw the Cove and the secret fake over towards B, that they walked through the Cove into sewers. And normally that's a big point with these Harbor Viper comps, is you throw a wall similar to that just went out. So you could break alarm bots, you can feint some presence, they throw another cascade, that could be pushed through. They're finally starting to show that loud variation, and this one is better, honestly. Look at how these guys have gotten up sewers. Normally this high tide does not go as far.
They've cleared the alarm bot. They've cleared the utility, and not only that, but they're forcing more utility out of defensive side. Nowser having to use a flash.
But it's so good from Nowser too. I mean, they know that this is a consideration. See if the cascades can block everything here for NRG.
Reckoning used, and those two mollies are so good at just delaying the entry from NRG, even with the Cove. Now they have the Viper molly they're gonna have to navigate through, but Artis gets up top, gets over it, and gets a kill onto King.
Oh, falling back into the Cove too, that's really cool. The dog cannot give the position for him to be sprayed down.
Artis is weak here, but he's in a cheeky spot. No, he falls. 2 down from NRG. Sam training back though, a 3v3 here. Sam gets another, eventually meets his demise to a 2v2 as the spike ticks away.
Look at Finesse, he's on the flank again.
Oh, but he's getting pushed back, he's getting chased. Nowser's trying to force him off the angle, and he does.
One more molly for Victor.
Healthy.
Enemy
Dropped.
remaining.
The first, the second, not able to land. 3 out of Nowzers. He gets to defuse as well.
We're getting scrappy as we end this half off. That hit with no vision blockers. They didn't have a high tide, they didn't have the cascades. They used it all for that B-Link presence that we talked about. That did net them sewers. And Sam's still able to surprisingly get 2 kills there while he's isolated by himself, but...
And the shot for a third.
Leviathan's the one who fast retake. Taco doesn't find anything with that updraft, but gives them the space they need to actually challenge that fight.
Second time out of the half call, this time from NRG. As you mentioned, we're nearing the end of this first half here. See what they can do to close this out. I want to go back to Leviathan in particular because, you know, we talked about Taco having the op on a few instances, and he's found some success. Again, I think about that early pick down be long, but he's been relatively quiet.
Yeah, it's hard against this comp, man. The vision blockers, like I said, we've seen like, for example, Loud even go against Harbor Viper on this map, or a variation of that, and Aspas struggles against that, and he's one of the best operators in the world, so it's not surprising for me to see Takolia have that same sort of idea going for him. I look to the next half for him against this comp specifically. He's trying to float a little, maybe too much, I guess, but you have to against Finesse, otherwise they just read it too well. You have to. And you can't really get too aggressive either because you know how often NRG is considering that sort of idea. Definitely, if I'm owner, I'm working on how to get Takolia a little bit more active. He did get an op dropped, or excuse me, carried into this round.
No armor here.
And I like this, okay?
I mean, they've bought down a fair amount here. Op's still not used.
Remember, only 1 player actually survived last round against that attempt from Victor on the 1v2. It's all quiet this round. Nothing has been spent.
Nothing has been heard. There's the first. Instantly, the Viper orb goes up, and they're able to preserve some of the utility that's still set up. Oh, but Artis is just full sending, and oh no! That's unfortunate. Can they convert off of that, though? Can they navigate through that mistake? Crashy's weak. Victor 2. Shy spamming blind. Can't see a dang thing. Leviathan holds the line. Sam left in this 1v3. The spike was planted. And that's all it is. Mazzino's going to get the defuse. Or actually, hand it off to Nowzer. Or hand it off back to Mazzino.
Yeah, it's tough in that situation. Like, ooh, who actually gets it?
Yeah.
Because it's the last round of the half, so.
Which one do we want more?
Yeah, it's also who's feeling it enough that they can get 3 orbs in a round,
sure.
you know? So Mazzino is the choice. And I think his ult has been powerful. He is at the top of the scoreboard, so let's see if they can get it. Shive is obviously dead already.
Spike planted.
Huge.
One enemy
from Leviathan. But a big blunder from Artis. That nade going in the back of side, I was just about to compliment NRG actually on all the utility that clears out all the space. And you see the reason why Leviathan has to play offsite so much, but that one, a little bit of mistake. I think he might have walked into the vulnerable of Victor's molly as well. So his nade insta-killed him.
There were a lot of assists on that kill on the kill feed. Off of that, 2 members of NRG have Bulldogs. Light armor the whole way. And again, you see this, you know, you talked about this high tide, this exact high tide a couple of times.
Yes, but this time there's a response. Mazzino already put his down. There's an alarm bot on the other side. Broken actually by the satchel. So considered here from NRG. Literally every little thing. The turret on the A main push. They don't have to worry about this, how this hit the site.
They should know these mollies are here. They've been set up every time. Reckoning used, the alarm out there, and sure enough, the mollies, they hurt. Sam's down to 39 HP.
Finesse is here. They can get the heal going. Finesse has, Sam has a high tide. He's just putting it off right now. Ooh, just in time.
It was in this exact spot in the previous round that Leviathan just wiped the floor with NRG. All of the fights concentrated here in a 5v5, spike ticking away. Sam the first to fall. Leviathan getting a second, but Victor's on the flank. He's gotten one, but is it too little, too late?
Player standing.
He's gonna have to do it again. A 1v3. First spotted, drop the second. Not able to connect as King comes flying around the corner, gets the kill and the defuse.
But what is that, though? Both Finesse and King, the IGLs of the team, impressing me there. King is run spraying Finesse, jumping up on the wall.
Run spraying, yeah. Let's take a look at that one more time.
Last player standing.
I'm not gonna lie, I did have this. In my mind, I saw the vision from Finesse. I saw the opportunity. He already had one nasty clutch.
Yeah. Oh, and you can tell, man. He wanted it. It was close. It was within reach. We're going to throw it down to Golden Boy at the desk to break down the first half. It's been a close one, Golden Boy. What do you think?
I mean, I'll tell you what, that has been an absolutely stellar display of Valorant that we just saw between two fantastic teams already kicking off on Monday, waking us all up here. Screw caffeine when you got some great games to wake you up here. And let's just jump right into this one because, Brent, I think, you know, now that we shift gears toward Leviathan, we're all tied up 6-6. What happens as we go into this next half?
I think they might have an edge going into that next half. And I've actually pulled an instance from a previous match they played versus Vitality. And it was a pistol round strategy. And it's simple at its core, but it worked really well. And this is one of the bread and butter things that we were talking about that's so good with Leviathan is that they are able to cook up these strategies. And it just comes down to, in this case, an A split, making sure they use the dog off the turret's contact to take an easy kill. They split into the site. It actually goes a little bit haywire here. Vitality managed to contain, but look at how fast Leviathan are to take good trades and follow up off of this. There's no hesitancy as they refight into art and end out this pistol round here. And it ends in the final moments with a couple of, again, really good trades playing off of each other really well. And we kind of saw that adaptation, I think, towards the tail end of this half that we just witnessed as well, because it was NRG leading very, very heavily, getting the better of a lot of the retake attempts from Leviathan. But at the end, they were cleaning up just those trades towards the end and just finding out that they were edging out ever so slightly, being able to take much better fights.
Yeah, and when we have the two Harbor Viper comps going up against each other, rounds will often be defined by, on attack with Harbor Viper, you want to be playing post-plant. On defense with Harbor Viper, you want to be playing retake. So this half was all retakes, and I expect that to continue into the second. And I want to talk about the difference between these two comps, which is Artis on the Raze. On your defensive side, I think that Raze gives you a lot of extra options, particularly at shutting down those B long hits. Because while there is a lot of walls going up, there's a cove going up to protect the planter and utility to pressure, what you gain with this Raze over the Jet is a nade that you can throw into that cove, you can break the cove, you can pressure the planter off, and it makes it a lot easier to go for these faster flood retakes when you can shut down that plant. Artis has already been good in the first half, but I think this half is where we see this choice absolutely find more value. But again, Bren, it does come down to this pistol round as the scoreline is 6-6.
Yeah, and we've already seen some cutesy ideas from Leviathan as well. Round 5 in particular in that half was really, really special in their half fight. They cooked up something for it. I'm expecting those ideas to continue.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see what both of these teams are cooking. We're going to send it right back over to your casters.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. A 6-6 half, and honestly, given the pedigree of these two teams, how excited we've been to watch both of them, not just individually, but then also play against each other. This really just feels like par for the course. This is what we expected.
Yeah, this was what I was looking for in the Americas League since I heard that it was going to happen. This is a marquee intra-regional matchup. We don't get to see LATAM versus North America this often, and we're going to see it all season, so if this is the first taste, can't wait for more. Fast from Leviathan, we saw the desk touch on their pistol rounds. And NRG won the first one, but that at lock-in was actually not the trend. NRG was struggling on their pistol rounds, whereas Leviathan, like Brent said, having some really cool ideas. And you see the difference. NRG just went for a really, really fast B hit. Here, Leviathan is relying on a little bit more control, even though the utility on these pistol rounds is not really plentiful.
I do think part of it was due to how NRG played the opening to this round, too. Instantly took a main control. They flashed over the top to apply some pressure onto Shy. And now he's taking some damage. That early nade goes back to what Mimi was saying. Yeah, it's on A instead of B, but it just feels like Raze has a bit more options as far as delaying and denying space.
Well, they're going to re-clear here. Let's see what they can do without that nade.
Oh, there are a lot of people here. 4. NRG have numbers, but the kills go back and forth and back and forth. NRG coming out on top, though.
Flipping the stats on their head right now. Shy, one more chance, a 1v3 though, and he gets walled off.
Blind, swung, and dead. NRG take the pistol.
That big clash inside of Art. Leviathan thought it was well-timed. They thought they were walking in dry to find a pick. But no. Artis, Victor. I think there was 3 players there, 1 from sewers and 2 from A. Clearing Art together and swinging at the worst possible time for Leviathan. Got caught with their pants down.
Putting a Marshall in the hands of Taco. Meanwhile, I think we're gonna continue to see the same setup from NRG. They're gonna fight for A main control. The flash over the top from Finesse, the wall down from Sam, and space taken. The orb gather too for Artis.
They trade orbs though. Other one goes to Leviathan's side. I think that was honestly a very necessary pistol round win. So this one needs to be clean. Remember last time Leviathan canceled the bonus of NRG.
Yeah, it was not clean at all.
And when we look at the gun rounds actually from that first half, it was 6-2 in favor of Leviathan, which is crazy.
Given the score, yeah. I believe, yeah, both cascades were used by Sam. High tide going up at just the right time as Leviathan creeping their way forward. On A main. They have a turret covering one flank and they have King making sure there's no pressure coming in from Link too.
Toxin screen down.
They're gonna rotate back. Taco has gotten some space, and I think the other thing is he hasn't necessarily been challenged here.
I love this from Finesse though. Might get him into some trouble with the rotate coming through, but that's a free pick. And there is no more Viper. So this wall is not going to be there. Thankfully, they still have Mazzino up. He's got a cascade as well that he could use.
There's actually so much info that NRG have just gotten off of Finesse's pick and the fact that he re-cleared Art. They still have the alarm brought up in Link as well. You've kind of, by process of elimination, figured out exactly where they are. And now with 13 seconds left, that's going to confirm everything. Taco with the cloudburst and the dash. Space taken away. Victor creeping his way forward. Concealed behind the wall as Crashies strikes at just the right time. It wasn't clean the first time around. This one was.
Absolutely necessary. Because while the stat I just said moments ago, out of the 8 gun rounds, 6 went to Leviathan, part of that was because the bonus was canceled. Part of that was because economically NRG was struggling.
Yeah.
It was tough for them to get a string of rounds outside of the pistol, outside of that anti-eco. Let's see what they put together here. This one is a true bonus. Leviathan, plenty of weaponry. I think King getting caught off there by himself in middle. Finesse in his head, knowing exactly how he's going to play, knowing how his team is going to rotate, knowing that he's going to be a lurker after spotting him as he peeked the door. It's huge. He cannot be caught like that because he is such a critical element to this B hit that they're going to need to rely on at some point in this game.
Artis holding the angle. Got a Marshall. Vision denied. The orb farmed by Leviathan.
Another thing too about Harbor right there, you see that cascade? That thing is high. You can't see over the top of that angle that Artis was trying to play on. And again, a reason why maybe Taco Leo was struggling on that first half.
It's like they're patiently waiting to see if there is any aggression coming in from NRG, but they've been patient. They've been disciplined.
They've hit all the way to the other side. No push from NRG on this side. Shy's going to call that information. Walking back now. There's not going to be much time to pivot here, so with that flash and Art not spotting anything, that was really deep. NRG's going to get a setup here very close to A main that is brutal to deal with.
Victor's the only one not close by. Everyone else within striking distance. Finesse playing close. The dash there, and he's going to swing into it. Taco Leo taken care of.
Not ready yet.
Courtesy of Artis, and that was their entry. That was their go. How do they get past this now? It's going to be so much more labored.
15 seconds.
This is going to be so difficult to get through. 10 seconds left, and you still have such a brutal crossfire. You called it, Bala. Because of that deep flash, they were able to get further up. They were able to get set up. And Leviathan. All right. Either way, they can't find any space.
No, but they deny all the guns, so that's good. I mean, even if they lose somebody, that was a bonus for them, so they were going to buy in the next round anyways. I think the reposition from Finesse there, Som as well, getting double, Cascade, High Tide, everything out. I was such a perfect read. That was perfect. Something that's really difficult in this game is you have to dynamically change your setups on defense because of what utility you have information-wise from the attack. Like a Trailblazer there. They saved that till the end of the round, and you can see how that could have been really bad. If that Trailblazer, I don't know what happened, didn't spot Finesse in that corner, didn't hit him at least. All of a sudden, that setup is broken. They know what's happening. They're going to pre-fire you, all sorts of things. And so you want to wait until that utility is used to deny them the space, deny them from taking the site, and then go into a closer crossfire. Most times, that's really difficult.
Nearing the end of this timeout called by Leviathan. They find themselves down 3 rounds. And they find themselves up against a full force NRG here.
That's their final timeout, too.
The buy's not great either.
Turret out.
Reckoning up from Mazzino. I think they're going to need, at one point in this game, an eco-round win.
I mean, it kind of feels like it needs to be now, no?
They got really close in that first half. But with that bonus from NRG, with that successful bonus from NRG, yeah, you're right, it might need to be now.
Here.
It's only 3 rounds, so the lead is not that ballooned yet.
Only Crash, he's here, and for him to get a kill with the Molly, yeah.
He had a Molly up there for the dash. That is so premeditated.
So Galaxy Brain, huge job from King, though. Crashy's falling too.
Wait,
that it needed to be a thrifty, and this very well may be it.
There's a 4v2 all of a sudden. Here's the nade coming in from Artis.
That nade's
Might
gonna
cancel
be good.
Mazzino.
That nade's gonna be good.
He's out of the cove.
Where's the other member? Where's Artis? He's 1 point away from having showstopper.
They're all back site here. NRG, that's going to be really difficult to consider, but they're also lining up. So Som, an opportunity. Look at the flank though as well from Shy.
Timing here is everything. They were just checking it, but the Viper wall keeps him back for now. So many things you have to consider, so many things you have to deal with. King gets 3 on it as the kills get traded, and we teed it up. There was the thrifty we were looking for.
They needed it, they got it. That is... Owner asked for it, and they delivered. Just a fast B hit. And even still, we were getting hype about the fact that Crashy's considered that Molly on top of Heaven, where Takalito's dashing. That is ridiculous. He gets the full kill on him. And they still lose the round to the Sheriffs. Light armor all the way through for NRG. A little aggressive here with Artis' op. They're trying to set him up.
Different wall here from King. The turret really deep. Starting to trade back and fight for some of that space that NRG have had full control of this half.
I think you're going to be really scared to actually walk through this wall if Victor times it correctly. They do have a flash. Actually, no. Nowser down early. Traded with Crashies.
They have to be so careful. Look at how meticulous they're being in clearing every single angle because of that wall that you were just referencing.
But look at the reposition from Artis. He started at Art in this round, and now all the way back Belong.
Spike making its way up. Taco dashing forward. There's not going to be anyone backside either. Victor's playing close, and he's trying to get cheeky, but Mazzino was wise to it. Expected the pressure in the cove and drops him.
That's desperation, though, from Victor there. After he loses Artis, that was the setup. He needed his teammate there, and when he went down, Victor said, oh no, we need to get this kill. We need to deny the spike because my teammates are not even close.
Yeah, I just tried making a play.
And they didn't even move an inch. Finesse and Som didn't even move an inch on the map right now. Round is over. In a flash there. Just by Artis. That Takalito kill. Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit, but hey, that one might have just changed the game. Because this was a big invest. Thinking about it now, though, the investment from NRG, after they get eco'd, all light armor. All light armor. That is meta now, without a doubt.
Here.
And they still have plenty of money to get a couple grunt rounds in.
And again, light armor. Timeout called as well. What was a 6-9 lead has very quickly diminished and evaporated. Now just down to 1.
Leviathan almost back in clawing distance of tying up this game. One more round. And the interesting thing about them, while I've been looking at Artis in his first match on North American soil, this is for Leviathan the same thing. And we haven't had any intra-regional matches that have included NA and top teams of this level. Both of these teams punching up at Loud for that first spot for the expected winners of this league. Because of these guys, there is no expected winner. We're wondering who's second, who's third.
It's just so crazy, too. I want to say that Des was talking about it, but when you've got two teams of this caliber facing off this early in the season, you only get one shot. Right? It's single round robin, so when you think about potentially tiebreakers at the end of the year, it's huge.
Absolutely is. Impact of seeding in playoffs. We're such a long way away from that, but we have to talk about it with this matchup specifically, as they won't get another chance to play each other until playoffs. Molly for the bottom of B-Link here. We're going for another fast hit from Leviathan. Cascade all the way down. There's the high tide through.
How patient are Victor and Crashies? Finesse just got his Seekers on the other side of the map. Victor this time not pushing into the cove, getting his kill and getting away.
Look at the mind games there. He throws the molly under this time, Victor. Finds Takulia with it. The vulnerable makes him dead instantly when he jumps up there. This is a really deep lockdown, so... Oh, what is Messina? Ooh.
Dying.
No, he had a brain fart there. Didn't realize what was going on. He should have gotten off site.
Not surviving. NRG out of the timeout. Looked very clean. Crashy's able to get the defuse to half, and he's just going to stick the whole way. 3 quarters, 90% done. Delivered. 10 for NRG.
Everything went wrong there for Leviathan from the start. Takulia again getting flattened by these well-considered counter mollies that are coming out from NRG. And the idea was really good there from Leviathan too. We didn't even mention King was on the other side of the map, but there was no point in mentioning it because the round ended that fast. He was going to hit a late, nasty flank through A. Does not need to be localized for that Viper wall, so he contributes to the execute, but he was the guy who was going to end the round. That's the IGL. So they want to go something similar, but not quite.
Very, I mean, defensively, it's the same setup. It's the same plan.
Yeah, just Crashies and Victor.
Meanwhile, they continue to farm the orbs A. In the last round, Finesse got his ult off of that orb. This time, saw him 1 point away from his reckoning.
You know, the thing I was mentioning about Finesse never playing Sky, Victor never playing Viper, it makes sense when I see how Victor and Crashies are doing together on this B side.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've been a duo for probably over 1,000 days at this point.
Yeah. See if we can get a stat on that one.
They were a package deal in the offseason.
And you see why.
Ending up sticking with NRG. Finesse, Chet, all the guys here have such faith in them. The execute util is out here for Leviathan. The timing is good, landing as the mollies come, but that was a lot of time wasted on that high tide.
Get out of my way.
He ulted from really far back. Artis ulted from really far back. Meanwhile, Taco getting one, falling.
We're running out of time now.
30 seconds.
30 seconds
And Victor's
left.
on the flank. He's gonna spot a couple of members. He does get one. The spell lands! Mazzino no longer around. Victor feeling the pressure, trying to get one with the classic.
One enemy remaining.
Not able to do so as Leviathan snatched around right back. Crashy's in this 1v2, and he's healthy. He's undetected. He slipped behind enemy lines, and he's gotten it down to 1v1, but King with the third in the round.
King is heroic. 3 kills out of the blue. When Crashies hit that flank, it was 2 players not looking at him. Yes, it was a little sloppy, but he delivered on those 2 kills. And NRG thought because of that, they have an opportunity to have a timing. Everybody's going to be looking.
Sure.
But King is still there on site.
He's had some huge moments, man.
That was the player NRG was focusing on as the player to hype up on this Leviathan squad, the reason why they were excited to play against them, the reason why they were slightly fearful of them.
I suggest you move.
This is so well done. This is so cool. The Reckoning out from Leviathan. Gonna create some space B. But the timing is a little different from NRG here. Didn't farm the orb, so they're gonna be able to rotate faster. It's not just Victor and Crashies here. They have a little bit more help.
You should run.
Lockdown used. Crashies dancing behind, and Mazzino just destroys him. Waiting for another.
Yeah, they can't get in.
Just clothesline, yeah.
Lockdown's up. Reckoning was going off as well, keeping them in the site too. That nets them another kill. They're still going to charge for this.
Yeah, I mean, they have the pit. They have some tools. Time is short, though. If they're going to do it, they got to do it now. Pit invested. Sam on the swing. Taco cleans him up. 2 left here.
Artis is saving his op.
Yeah.
One enemy remaining.
Victor is literally just by himself trying to get them close. That was a weird investment.
Yes, it was.
And I was actually thinking about Leviathan's ult as well in that round. With the lockdown that they used, I was surprised that King did not invest his Viper Spit in that round. So you see the difference, right? NRG being a little bit desperate in some of these rounds. You saw one round Victor diving into the orb, try to deny the plant. This time, going for a Viper's Pit.
Well, not even that, but also Sam swinging out from backside, seemingly by himself. It was a wide swing, too. It does feel like a little bit of forcing, perhaps.
Yeah. And finally, we have a little bit of struggles economically. NRG feeling the inflation.
It's a wild economy we live in, man. Judge for finesse. And where Leviathan previously found success on a fast hit B, this time it's Artis playing alongside Victor. Far up, and for good reason.
There's that op finally coming to life for Artis. It's because finally the vision blockers aren't there. Just catching the little lurk. Leviathan all here though. All up to Sam to even deny a little bit of space. I think that cascade is part of it. Molly as well coming in cross map from Victor.
Wave crashing.
Yeah, cheeky lineup for that.
It's a little bit of damage. That counts a lot.
Walls up.
Vision blockers aplenty, as you mentioned.
Out. Satchel out.
Cove as well.
Xeno
Start this
falls
defuse.
first. Shy does too, and you're right. Now they have the Cove. Leviathan just not able to keep NRG back.
This is ridiculous. The amount of rounds that are just decided because of the minor details in the execution there. Oh, hold on, finesse. Okay, he's not going to choose the challenge.
A day working
But it's
the
leading to
farm
saves every
will do
round from
these
both
fellas
sides.
good.
Yeah.
On both halves. And then you consider there's moments like King, there's moments like Finesse, all coming out with small clutches here and there, small 1v1s that are edging either team over the other. Still light armor, the staying power of this light armor by coming in from NRG is ridiculous when it's put in their hands.
Heavy lean B from NRG, nothing spotted. Leviathan want to go fast A. And they look good for it too. Are they going to be able to overwhelm what they have? Taco's pushing forward, and surely you suspect something like this. Yeah, the Trailblazer cleared out. He's going to try to get away as the pit drops. Leviathan dropping the first. Announcer's weak too.
And Nate's going to force the Viper out, actually. King takes a load of damage.
Is he going to be able to tuck back in to keep it up? Yeah, it looks like he is. Playing just on the outskirts of it. You've got Mollies you're going to have to deal with, and NRG are going to have to push the pace. Now they're able to keep Artis back first. That was clean.
That's brutal. That's brutal. Just the decay, the molly, everything ticking down, causing energy. I mean, you wonder if Victor had his pit, how different this could have gone.
Sure. Yeah.
If he can get up close to A main, pit back, and then all of a sudden they're also 1 HP while they're spamming you back, you just end up with a completely random round.
And you know, very quickly, I want to touch on Taco's play there because we've mentioned a couple of times now he seems a little quiet, perhaps has struggled a little bit. And you look at that play and you go, wait, why is he updrafting, trying to take challenges by himself? He doesn't take that fight, and yeah, he dies. But if he's not able to take that fight, if he doesn't do so, the pit doesn't go down, the spike doesn't go down.
Oh, for sure.
And it's all just buying time, a sacrificial lamb in a sense.
I think Leviathan understand that. I think Taco understands that. And that's why he's considering doing it over and over and over. I remember the rounds on B, he's diving in those mollies. He's not worried about it. That's his job. That's the execute. That's the plan. Early pick here, trying to get given to Artis.
Oh,
nade in the stun.
That nade is good. The flash too.
Nade missed, actually.
Did not hit at all.
A little bit of damage, but no, not much.
And Nauser there to top him off.
I think it was Nauser in the corner, so the 84-17 that you see. That's the nade damage. That wasn't much at all.
Poison's off.
I mean, he's just down to basically the HP situation that NRG's at, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mazzino with his Reckoning. Seeing how difficult it is for the two players on the site to hold while Reckoning's going off.
Yeah, but no, Crashies has his lockdown here, and if he keeps his position, that was a very deep one he used last time. There's the Reckoning, lockdown dropped instantly.
Proactive lockdown. Last time it actually got Mazzino in trouble, remember, he wasn't able to get off site. Taco's still committing to this too.
Yeah, through the damage from the turret. How's King already gotten two?
He got two, but two players detained now. Crashies actually kills Taco Lee, he was also detained.
Forget about taking the fights. Crashies in the cove. He's gonna get it to half. He's just gonna stick it the whole way.
Oh!
No way. Finesse, he's gotten it to half. So there's a shot at this thing, but you're so heavily outnumbered, and there's gonna be a swing coming from so many different angles. Leviathan claw their way back in and get us to map point.
Match point.
Full committing on the defuse there. I like the idea when there's so many players detained. Force the one player to take fights, but you also have to have somebody pushing while he fights the defuser, while he looks for the desperate kill through the smoke. And we're at match point for Leviathan. We're at the cap of regulation here. 24th round.
Don't keep them ground.
And NRG still has some sort of a buy here. Sam with no armor though.
It's messy, it's spotty at best. But it is a different look. They leave Artisan Art, leave some utility there too. In case he has to clear out, they have it covered.
And they're just giving the same look that they have been when Artis is trying to set up an Art. This time he's a little deeper, so once they don't spot him, once he's not walking all the way up into that alarm path that the adjustment has been made from Shy. It gives him a false sense of security because Artis is still there, just deeper. And he's in front of any of the harbor walls that might be thrown out. But look at Leviathan, they don't even really care. They're just set up, holding that space, making sure the flank's not gonna come in fast and moving over towards the B side.
I mean, 40 seconds have elapsed in the round already, and take a listen. Nothing. Finally, we're starting to hear the silence broken.
That timing always for finesses. Right around the time cooldowns come back up. And also the time where you have to have decided which site you're hitting. So any information you gain there is so much more crucial the later in the round it gets. But it didn't find anything, so you have to
30 seconds
fill
left.
in the gaps. Is he gonna do that? It doesn't look like it right now. Sam and Victor, the only players here, but Victor's got a really cheeky position. He's never played for it before.
He's gonna get spammed. Oh my gosh! Drops Taco. Goes and check. The spike is gonna be planted. Sam close by, but he's weak. 10 HP.
I've got your trail.
How bold does he get? Seekers now. Cleared out, coming through. And they're all gonna play for a long retake. They're all gonna be playing down long. King has a molly as well. And he's playing furthest back. The cove, there's the molly. But that was the one line of defense they had. Everything else is gonna be spam. Everything else is gonna be guns. Mazzino dropping finesse.
It's not a great plant. Sam's trying to creep on it, but with the wall going back down.
Oh, they've cleaned him up. They've dropped him. And Leviathan strike first blood.
Bother me again when you're trying.
A close affair on Pearl, where NA teams historically have been so good. But here falling for the first time against Leviathan, who are now America's brethren. And Owner coming back on stage, hyping his players up. That was a hard-fought game. It might have felt kind of easy in a lot of instances with the amount of executes that were leading to saves on both sides. But man, the stress the two IGLs are under in that situation, King against Finesse, has set us up for a really nice best of 3 here.
And honestly, the nuance, right, as we talk about this a couple of times, right? The nuance, this is my favorite brand of Valorant, right? Because you get to nerd out about these tiny little things, and the mind games are playing and positioning their chess pieces in just the right spot. That's what led to this 13-11. You're right, it may have looked easy in some instances, but there are so many layers that got them to that point. Unreal performance out from Leviathan. It was really a complete effort. It may not always show up in the stats, but Leviathan looked good. They take down NRG on Pearl. We've got map 2 just around the corner. We'll be right back.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable.
True.
He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. A racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, there's no stopping me. Don't stop me now, I'm having such a good time. I'm having a
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.